Hello, kindergarteners. Before we get started with our second lesson, I have a special message for you all.
Hi friends, it's Miss The Pass. Just wanted to say that I'm so happy that you're making so much artwork, and I can't wait to make more art with you really soon. Hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
This week we will begin learning about the color wheel. So let's talk about what primary and secondary colors are. So let's start by taking a look at a color wheel. The reason why it's called a color wheel is because it's kind of in the shape of a wheel. It's circular and it has lots of color in it. Now I want you to take a moment and notice what kind of colors do you see on here. Some colors have special names, and artists like to use their names to identify them. The first type of color is called a primary color. These are colors that you cannot create by mixing other colors together. For example, red, blue, and yellow. So red, blue, and yellow are primary colors because they are colors that we just get straight from the paint bottle if we were painting. We cannot use two other colors to create it. They're just sort of our guiding points. Then we have these other colors, right? Let's take a moment and think. Are they primary colors? Orange, green, and purple are known as secondary colors. Now take a guess. Why do you think they're called secondary colors? What do we know about our orange, our green, and our purple that might make them different from our primary colors? Are there two colors that we can mix together to create orange? What about green? What about purple? If you said that you mix yellow and red to get orange, ding, 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 you got it. In order to get green, we mix our blue and our yellow. And in order to get purple, we mix our red and our blue, which means that to get orange, to get green, and to get purple, we have to mix our primary colors. Isn't that neat? So now that we've talked a little bit about color, you are going to have the opportunity to create your very own color wheel using recycled materials. So here's a few items that you're going to need. You're definitely going to need a cardboard piece. I didn't have a big enough piece, so I cut two flaps together and I taped them to get a bigger square. You can have it whatever shape you want, as big or as small as you want it. I am also going to be using a bowl to help me create my wheel. It doesn't have to be very big, but you want to make sure that it fits onto your cardboard piece. You're going to need a ruler or a piece of paper, something with a straight edge. You're going to need some glue, scissors, a Sharpie, and of course some recycled materials. And here I just have a collection, a variety of different ones. So I'm going to be looking for those colors that we just talked about. So my first step is going to be to write my name on the back. So I'm going to take my cardboard piece, and this is the back of my cardboard piece. I'm going to quickly write Ms. Meza, small in the corner, just in case I need the other side and that I know that this belongs to me. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to tilt this screen down. I'm working on the floor because it gives me a lot more space to work with. So I'm going to scooch it down so that you can see like this, and I can spread out all my materials. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to take the bowl. You don't have to. This is just going to help me get the shape that I want. So you don't have to use the bowl, but if you would like to, it's going to help you get a nice wheel shape. So I'm going to go like this, hold it so that it doesn't move anywhere. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center. And I'm just going to take my Sharpie or a marker and just go all the way around, tracing as best as I can. This might be tricky, but just try your best. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler, and I am going to create a line that goes right down the middle, or as close as I can get it to the middle on my circles. I'm going to hold my ruler steady. Some of them like to move around. So I'm going to press down with one hand, take the other hand, sketch it out like that. And I am going to create about 6 different sections so that I have enough for my primary colors and my secondary colors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once I have my line down the middle, I'm going to make an X on my cardboard piece. So I'm going to take this one and it's going to go right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just something that looks like an X. So one line goes like that, and I'm going to make my X the other way around. Your pieces do not have to be the exact same size. I think it'll actually make it a little bit more interesting if they're not. So if it's okay if one is bigger than the other. Now, I want you to look through your recycled materials and find different pieces that could be part of your color wheel. So what colors do you see on here that I could use for my color wheel? I see some green, definitely a color I can use. I see some purple. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to go through and cut out different pieces that I can use to add on to my color wheel. What might help you is if you label your different sections. And so here's what I'm going to do so that I don't forget what colors I am looking for. I am going to take my Sharpie, and on one section I'm going to write my first primary color. And the first primary color, because it's my favorite color that comes to mind, is the color red. So I'm going to try my best and write red. I'm going to skip one and write another primary color, and the other color that comes to mind is blue. It might have been yellow for you, and that's okay. And then I'm going to skip another, and on this last section, I'm going to write the third primary color, which is, of course, yellow. And then I'm going to fill in the blank spaces with my secondary color. So what secondary color do you think of? Does anybody remember any secondary color? I know orange is a nice one. Then I'm going to skip another and think about another secondary color. Maybe some purple. And then finally, what color am I missing? Try to see if you can guess what goes into the final spot. If you guess green, you guessed correctly. And now I know what colors to look for. So I'm going to start cutting out the different sections that I can use for my color wheel. If I try to cut it out like this, it's not going to work. So I'm actually going to break down my box into a flat piece so that's a little easier for me to use it. I could even fold out the tabs. And I can get this green. Always watch out for your fingers and point the scissors away from you. Just like that. And this is kind of boring to keep it just like this, so I'm going to actually make it into smaller pieces that are a little bit more interesting to me. Kind of like that. Da-da, da-da, da-da. And I think that's good enough. And I can even try to put it onto the green section and see if I need any more before I start gluing everything down. That looks good. So now I'm going to continue looking through and finding colors that I can use for my color wheel. So you're going to see me look through and add some yellow, some red, definitely. When you're cutting your pieces, make sure that you're not cutting them too small, because it's going to be very challenging to add them back on and when you're gluing them all together. So I kept my pieces small enough for them to fit into the section and not be one big boring piece, but also big enough so that I didn't lose any of them. I ended up using some magazines that I got in the mail to find some other colors if I didn't have any other recycled materials that I had collected, like boxes. Make sure you're having fun with it. I want you to really challenge yourself and see how many different colors you can find. It doesn't all have to be the exact same orange or the exact same red. It actually looks very beautiful when you add lots of different types of the same color. So I looked through to see how many I could find. I found some really awesome carrots that I thought would be perfect for my orange section to fill those in. Once you found all your colors, your final step is to add some glue. Once you have it all glued down, you want to make sure that you spend some time on your background. I have some paints, so I'm going to be using paints. If you have markers, you can use markers, crayons, colored pencils, anything you want.